What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I have some information coming out of Alaska. So we have a couple of polls after Peltola announced. So she's a Democrat. She announced that she was running for Senate against Sullivan, who's a Republican. And now that we've received some polling in January, so after she announced that she'd be running for the Senate, I want to take a look at that polling. And this polling may shock you, so make sure you stick around. But first off, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have a political science degree. I worked in political campaigns for over 15 years. And in this video and in all my videos, we're focusing on the issues that matter for the 2026 midterm election. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing with your family and friends. Okay, so let's go ahead. And first thing I like to do in every video when we talk about this, the Senate mainly, and the first thing I like to do in all these videos, especially when we're talking about the Senate, I like to start here. So Democrats are at 47. Democrats and Independents are at 47. Republicans are at 53. That was the last election. So now we're looking at the midterm election. Things on this board will probably change. And so I just wanted to show you Republicans have control of the Senate. In order for Democrats to take back control of the Senate, they need to net 4 seats. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to take a look at the polling. Okay, so looking at the latest polling, so we have 2 different pollsters here. So we have PPP, and this was conducted between January 16th and January 17th. The sample size here is 611 likely voters. Okay, so you have people that have voted in recent elections. So that's good. I like to see the likely voters there. Now, the sample size isn't that large. 611 is not a large amount, but they're likely voters, so that does carry some weight with me. Sullivan right now, 47%. Peltola, 49%. So just understand what we're looking at here. We're looking at the incumbent, Sullivan, behind in the polling against Peltola. Now, we need to say that Peltola has won 2 statewide races before. She's been a representative for 2 years. And yes, they only have 1 representative in Alaska, so that's a statewide race. So she's won twice. She did lose the last one in 2024. But you have a sitting senator who is behind her in the polling. And it's not just this poll. If you go back to even before she decided that she was going to run, back in October, back in I think August, they did some polling. Peltola came out ahead of Sullivan. So people in Alaska, they want change. And I mean, we're not just looking at one poll and saying, okay, well, maybe that's an outlier. We're looking at multiple polls that are showing Peltola ahead of Sullivan. Okay, let's go back because there's more here. So looking at the Alaska survey research, this was conducted between January 8th and January 11th. Sample size here, 1,988 likely voters. Okay, so this is a really good sample size here, and it's likely voters. What do we see here? We see Sullivan at 46. We see Peltola at 48. So she's 2 points ahead of him here, and she's 2 points ahead of him in this other poll. The 2 most recent polls that we've seen has Peltola ahead. As a matter of fact, every poll that I've seen with Peltola versus Sullivan, Peltola is ahead. And so Peltola's campaign is probably pretty happy with what they're seeing in the polling. And I told you guys, she's probably going to see a bump now that she announced that she's running for Senate. Even before she was ahead of Sullivan, before she decided that she's running, now that she has decided that she's running, it's going to take a little bit more time, but I think she's going to see even a higher bump. And so we'll have to see when they do a debate and all that, how that turns out. But right now, she's looking really, really good. Okay, now why is this important? The fact that Peltola decided that she's running, this is for Democrats, this is a huge win that she's actually running. And this is the reason why. Because prior to this, Democrats were they were trying to figure out how they were going to take back control of the Senate. It was going to be very, very hard. It's still going to be hard, but now that Peltola is running, it changes things. And let me show you the reason why. Because before, Democrats, in order for Democrats to take back control of the Senate, they need to win Georgia, okay? They need to win Michigan. They need to win Maine. They need to win North Carolina. And then they need to win 2 more states. Okay, so that, it would be very hard for them. Let's say Alaska wasn't in play. If Alaska wasn't in play, that would mean Democrats would need to win like Ohio, which is possible, South Carolina, Iowa, Texas. They would need to win 2 of those states. But now that you have Alaska in play, and really right now it's a toss-up because Peltola, her numbers are better than Sullivan's, at least for right now. So if the election were held today, she would probably, you know, I mean, if we're looking at the polling or believing what the polling is showing us, then she would, I mean, it would be a real close race. Let's just say that. But the fact that she's running, we can now safely say that Alaska is a toss-up. Let's say she wins in Alaska. Now we're looking at a 50-50 Congress. Of course, the vice president breaks the tie, so Republicans would still maintain control. But now Democrats only need to win one more state. And Ohio's very possible. Iowa's very possible. Texas is possible. Even South Carolina, looking at some of the polling coming out of South Carolina, we could see Democrats do really well in South Carolina. So they only need one of those states. Now, I say they only need one of those states, but obviously they still have to turn the table. Because if we look at this, let's look at the toss-ups. So if we put in all the toss-ups here, let's say you have 5 toss-ups. So you have Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Maine, and Alaska. So we're looking at Democrats and independents right now at 45, Republicans at 50. And Democrats need to win it all, okay? They need to win everything. And so looking at this, Democrats would have to win Georgia. So Ossoff is going to have to be able to pull it out. Roy Cooper wins North Carolina. Let's say Maine goes to Mills or goes to Plattner. And then let's say McMorrow or Stevens wins in Michigan. And then Alaska, Peltola. So this is what we would have to see. We would have to see Democrats run the table in all of those states. And then they would still need to win one more, which I think Ohio is probably their best opportunity, but they could still win in Iowa. They can win in Texas. So these states are still on the board. And so now Democrats have an opportunity to win. And even if they didn't win, let's say you get to this point where it's 50-50, that's still a huge victory for Democrats. That would mean that Democrats netted 3 seats in the Senate. And that's very, very hard to do. And so if they're able to do that, that's a win in itself. And then they can focus on 2028, winning back the Senate then. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But just looking at everything right now, when it comes to the Senate map, Alaska is going to be crucial. And the fact that Peltola is running is a blessing for Democrats. And looking at the latest polling showing that she's ahead, the Sullivan campaign, they have to be very, very nervous about this. Republicans have to be very nervous about this because they're looking at this map and this map is changing on them. Because just 3 months ago, Democrats didn't even have a shot. It was going to be pretty much impossible. Democrats were thinking, okay, maybe we'll pick up 1 seat or 2 seat, net 1 or 2 seats, and then we can fight in 2028 to try to take back the Senate. But now they could potentially take back the Senate in 2026. So I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. Remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.